Okay, so if you're a 3D printer, you know, like one of the most annoying things that can happen is that no matter what you do, the print is not sticking to the bed. And really, even if everything else is dialed in and your print is not sticking to the bed, you might as well not bother. So fixing that issue is actually way more simple. So I've just removed the plate from the bed. What happens is as you use it, you'll notice there's like buildup of 3D, filament. There's a lot of exchange of like oils and stuff from your hands. Even if you don't use lotion, even if you don't do any of that stuff, we're sort of creating oils all the time. And so you're just essentially building up this little layer, this very microscopic layer on your build plate. That means that nothing sticks to it. And as I said before, stuff sticking to your build plate is like the #1 goal with 3D printing. Without that, you just can't start, no matter how good your 3D printer is. So let's talk about how I clean it. It's super simple. Anyone can do it at home. I'll give you a few tips and take you all the way through it. Okay, so my #1 tip when cleaning your build plate is that you just want to use generic like dishwashing soap. What you're doing here is trying to get rid of any buildup. You're not going to get rid of like the plastic buildup per se. So you're not trying to like scrub it like there's no tomorrow. What you're trying to do is just get rid of the buildup of your hand oils that's going to cause issues with stuff sticking to the build plate. What I do is very simple. So I'm just in the kitchen. I'm just going to add water to the build plate. Now this should be safe for like 99.99% of build plates on the market. And then just grab some dishwashing liquid. And personally, all I do is just let it sort of drop on there. Do the same here. And then I'm going to actually use my hands to just spread it on. Get it nice and sort of sudsy. Let's see, how are we going? Okay, and I'm just gonna add some water. So I've put on a fairly thick layer. I'm just gonna do that until I can tell that it's sort of, it's less that like sort of congealed nature that the dishwashing soap is, and it's more runny. I do recommend avoiding as much as possible putting this in the sink because you're just going to introduce stuff back onto the build surface. As part of this as well, you'll notice my hands do get washed as well, which is good because it's getting rid of stuff that might be on my hands and I might reintroduce as soon as I've washed the build plate itself. If you need to, sometimes use a sponge, use a clean one. So what I've done is I've got a dedicated sponge that I use just for washing the build plates. It's just so that I'm not introducing cooking oils and things like that, or like animal fats or whatever you might be washing with your sponge. Get that out of the way. And then here, all I'm trying to do is just gently wash off the soap. Again, I'm not trying to get it like beautifully, perfectly clean. The thing is, this is dishwashing soap, right? It's designed to come off the surface and take with it everything that you want to get rid of, which is exactly what we wanted to do when it comes to what we're trying to achieve here. There we go. Okay. And now that it's nice and washed, you should be able to hear, I don't know how well you can hear this, but it's clean, super clean, right? That's perfectly what you want to hear. And then depending on if I have time, I've actually 3D printed a little rack that I can just store this in and it can just sort of drip dry if I'm not in a rush. I have a whole bunch of build plates. But for the average person, you've probably got a couple plates and you're just keen to use this again. That's where you just clean it with a standard paper roll. Now, some people will say that like the paper roll will leave behind residue. I've never had that cause issues because the residue is so minute. So you might want to have like a lint-free microfiber cloth. My issue with that is that that might be lint-free, but while it's sitting aside and waiting to be used for the next time, it's just gathering dust anyway. So you might as well just use paper towel. So let's do that next. So this is just kitchen paper towel. I don't do anything special with it, but what I will try and do is just try and get it like minimal contact. So I'm not there again, like scrubbing it down. All I'm trying to do is just get rid of a majority of the moisture. And that's it. So I've got still, I don't know if you can hear that, but a very clean build plate. What I'd probably do next is put it on the heat bed. If I feel like it's still a bit moist and I don't have time before the next print, I'd chuck it on my 3D printer, put it on the build plate, turn the heat up to like 50 degrees just to get rid of any resident sort of residual moisture, flip it over, do the same thing, and you're good to go. Really, this whole process shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes. You should be able to just smash it really, really quickly. That's it. That's how you clean your build plate.